The market is crashing. So today I wanted to share with you exactly how to profit.
We are now officially in a recession.
Because of this video, you're gonna know exactly how to profit from both a recession and a depression. You can save this video for later. You can share this with a friend. So before we get started, why am I making this video? Well, the reason being is because during the COVID crash, the Bitcoin crash, if you played your cards right, you could greatly increase your net worth.
What do you do for a living? Get money. Here we go, baby.
Let's help squeeze some of that money into your portfolio with this next recession. Now, recessions are bad and ugly, and overall they don't benefit the majority. And that's because the majority doesn't know how to play this game.
You either win with us or you watch us win.
Now, the number one rule when it comes to recessions and depressions and overall market downturns, you want to have cash. Unfortunately, over the last 10 years, most people said cash is trash, and now cash is king again. But it's not for the same reason that you should hold on to that cash. Instead, you should be starting to deploy that cash when the markets take a tumble. And no, I'm not saying just to throw all your money into the wind and hope for the best. I'm saying just have the cash on hand and be strategic with how you play the next couple of months or even years if it turns out to be a depression. Now that you know the number one rule in a recession or depression, how do you actually make the money, right? You have some cash laying around. How is the money made? Now, of course, you could pull a Michael Burry and bet against the housing market, or you can always be prepared for something like this because, again, they're inevitable, and that is to always have a little bit of your portfolio, maybe 5%, 10% hedging against the market. Now, most of the time, we are in a bull market, okay? Throughout history, 90% of the time, we're in a bull market, okay? But on days where we see a lot of bloodshed, most of your portfolio is probably gonna go down. But at the same time, that hedge against your portfolio is gonna go up. And personally, I like to do a leveraged position. So in a really big recession or depression, this portfolio might even outpace this one in terms of gains versus losses. Now, of course, this varies on which stocks actually go down, how you're positioned in your regular bullish portfolio and your bearish portfolio. Now, of course, that's just my strategy, but let me share with you another strategy that a lot of investors choose, and that is to buy puts. Now, during the dot-com bubble crash of 2000, a lot of really smart people knew that the market was starting to boil. It was getting too big and the bubble was about to burst. And our friend Mark Cuban had just sold a company for an absurd valuation. And guess what? He took some of that money, he put it into puts, and now he's a multi-billionaire.
So I literally took every penny I had, 20-some million dollars in cash. I bought a put on an index against the entire market. And that put was for 6 months.
So that might tell you the power of puts. Now, again, this one is a little bit tricky because if everyone's buying puts, then the puts get more expensive, and then really it's gonna take a lot more pain to see that gain in your portfolio. So puts are good if you're early. Now, puts are bad if everyone's betting on puts. So you can't just throw your money in a put and say, all right, hope the market falls, right? Because that might happen, but if everyone was buying puts, then your puts that were really expensive just continue to degrade over time and you never really make the profit that you want. This method is not that. What I do is I personally go in and buy an index fund that's inverted of another index fund. And I don't buy options, I just buy that. And if you want it to be less risky, you could buy a normal inverted fund as well, which is also a great way to hedge if you're feeling like you want less risk in your portfolio. Now again, this is not investment advice by any means, this is just what I personally do. And it has helped protect my portfolio from drastic drops in the last few months. And I've even made some gains by hand selecting stocks. Of course, you have to be very, very careful because in these type of markets, the media can control at least what the individual stocks do. So companies that are extremely underpriced for the money that they bring in, they might level out for a long time. And then as soon as they start to get positive news and the market starts to heat up again, then those are the stocks that typically fly to the moon, right? And stocks that are overpriced in a recession will typically have the biggest falls. Now again, that varies. One recession might look a little bit different than the last, but history does tend to rhyme. And if you're wondering, okay, what are some of your favorite inverted funds? These are the ones that I have stakes in. My personal favorite is SQQQ, which is an inverted fund of QQQ. Essentially, it's a 3x leveraged ETF of the NASDAQ 100 companies. RWM is an inverted index of the Russell 2000. SPXU is also great because it's an inverted 3x leverage ETF of the S&P 500. So if you're like, oh, the S&P 500 is overheated, that ETF is particularly targeted at the S&P 500. And the last but not least is TBT. That is a 2x leveraged inverse fund of the 20-year Treasury bond. Now, I'm not gonna get super technical in terms of analytics of which one might go down more, because again, that will heavily depend on what truly happens in the next 6, 12, and 18 months. And it's always easy looking back in time and saying, well, because of that, this might happen. But unfortunately, history doesn't paint the exact picture for the future. So it's best to be diversified across the board. Again, that's my little rant about how to bet against the stock market. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to smash the like button. It really helps out a small creator like myself. Also, don't forget to share this with anybody that you think might get some real value from this. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace out.